to another video from Homemaker. I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. Fermented fruit juices or FFJ fertilizers have gained a lot of popularity as an organic fertilizer in the gardening circles. This FFJ is made by fermenting fruit scrapes like banana scrapes or mango or orange or papaya scrapes by adding equal amounts of brown sugar or molasses, creating a nutrient-rich liquid that can be used to nourish your plants. While FFJ does provide some benefits, it is very much essential to consider the potential disadvantages and the precautions that need to be taken before you use FFJ in your garden. And in this video, we will be exploring some of the downsides and the precautions that you must consider. So please stay with us till the end of this video. The first factor is nutrient variability or inconsistent nutrient composition. Now, the nutrient content in the FFJ fertilizer can vary significantly depending upon the type of fruit that you are using to make your FFJ fertilizer and the fermentation process that is involved in it. Now, this variability can lead to inconsistent nutrient levels, which can make it challenging to provide the plant with a reliable nutrient supply. And as a result of this, the plant might not receive all the essential nutrients that it needs to grow healthy. For example, the FFJ that is made by the banana peels or that is made out of banana might be rich in potassium and a little bit of other trace elements. Whereas the FFJ made out of the citrus fruits like grapefruit or orange or lemon might be rich in vitamin C, flavonoids, carotenoids, organic acids, and some other trace elements like magnesium, calcium, or potassium. Therefore, solely relying on FFJ fertilizer to fertilize your plants might not be able to fulfill all the needs of your plant. The second factor is risk of over-fertilization. Now, FFJ is a highly concentrated liquid, and if it is not diluted properly before application, it can lead to over-fertilization. Now, because different plants, they have got different fertilizing requirements, like indoor plants might need a very weak dilution of this fertilizer, whereas the fruiting or flowering plants might need a little bit stronger dilution as compared to the house plants. Too much of certain nutrients can cause harm to the plant roots. It can cause soil imbalance. It can cause nutrient imbalances, leading to deficiency in some other essential nutrients. Third factor is potential acidity. Now, some fruits are naturally acidic, and the fermentation process can concentrate the acidity, making the FFJ more acidic for some plants or soil types. And the acidic conditions can alter the soil pH, and it can create an unfavorable environment for plant growth. Therefore, it is very important to understand your plant's needs, fertilizer requirements, and also check the soil pH before you use FFJ fertilizer in your plants or your soil. The fourth factor is disease transmission. Now, if you have used the contaminated fruits for making the FFJ fertilizer, then the fermentation process will not be able to remove all those pathogens entirely. And therefore, there will be a risk of spreading diseases among your plants if you spray your plants with this contaminated FFJ. The fifth factor is odor and pest attraction. Now, this fermentation process produces a very strong odor, which can attract pests like fruit flies, house flies, and some other insects. And it can be a little bit of nuisance for the plants or for the gardeners, especially if you have sprayed that FFJ for your indoor plants and there are flies everywhere. Therefore, it always make sure that you dilute your FFJ liquid properly and also store it properly. Now, let's talk about the precautions that must be taken before you use FFJ in your plants. The first one is dilution. As I always mentioned in this video, that FFJ is a highly concentrated liquid, and therefore it is very, very essential to dilute the FFJ before you use it for your plants. The dilution in water comes in the ratio of 1:1000, but it also depends on the plant needs. If your plants are indoor plants or the plants that need a very weak fertilizing, then you can dilute it even more. The dilution helps to avoid the risk of over-fertilization and the potential harm to your plants. The second point is testing. So always perform a small test on some of your plants to see the response of how your plants are responding to the FFJ. It will help you to determine whether your plants are sensitive to FFJ or not. The third point is proper storage. Now, it's very much essential to store your FFJ fertilizer in a cool and dark place to avoid spoilage, and also make sure that you prepare a small batch of that FFJ liquid and use it within a reasonable time frame rather than keeping for a very long time, because that might end up in nutrient degradation and your FFJ fertilizer might lose its potency or its beneficial value. The fourth point is hygiene. Always ensure proper hygiene during the fermentation process to avoid contamination. Always use clean utensils and containers to prepare your FFJ fertilizer, because you don't want the harmful pathogens to make use of that sugar to grow in your fertilizer, and instead of the beneficial bacteria growing, the harmful pathogens grow and your fertilizer will get spoiled. Point is alternate fertilization. Now, do not solely rely on just FFJ fertilizer for your plant's nutritional needs. Use this FFJ fertilizer as a part of a comprehensive fertilization regime, which also includes other organic and conventional fertilizers to ensure a well-rounded nutrient supply for your plants. Last but not the least, judicious use of fertilizer. As I always mention, that always be mindful of the environmental impact of using fertilizers. It can be any fertilizer, whether it's a homemade fertilizer, organic fertilizer, synthetic fertilizer, any fertilizer. Avoid excessively fertilizing your plants or your soil. Always check whether your plant or your soil needs a fertilizer or not, and then you fertilize your plants. And because the plants will only take up as much fertilizer or as much nutrients it needs, and the rest of it is just going to get leached out of the soil and end up in the riverbeds, causing potential harm to the environment and also harm to your plants, because the excessive fertilization will cause the salt buildup in the soil, and that can harm the plant roots, that can affect the growth of the plants as well. In the end, I would just like to say that while FFJ can be a valuable addition to your gardening practices, it is very much essential to understand its limitations and the drawbacks as well. And using FFJ responsibly and in combination with other fertilization methods, you can maximize its benefits and promote healthy and vibrant plant growth. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you really liked it, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you next time with another informational video. Till then, stay safe, happy gardening, bye bye.